The federal courtroom in Las Vegas was filled with heavy breathing as the judge read the decision. Harrison and Austin Chumlee Russell were shocked and passed out because their sentences were too heavy. The dramatic scene stunned the crowd and showed how strongly people felt about the case. This was a precious moment that TV stars who had been on top for years couldn't even imagine. As soon as the final decision was made, everything changed. It was the unbelievable end to their public lives, but why did the popular Pawn Stars characters and the justice system get so angry and shocked at each other? This huge court case wasn't just a normal one, it was a fight between image and reality, between famous people and harsh facts. Here's everything you need to know about the lawsuit that caused a big surprise that changed how everyone thought about the History Channel's icons. That if you want to know more about the Pawn Stars' secret lives and their heated legal fight, please like and share this video. Also, please leave a comment below to let us know what you think. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any cool videos that come out soon. Let's start the story. Many people think that Harrison and Russell, who are kneeling, are two of the most important people in reality TV. They are known for having different characters, knowing a lot about history, and being able to make every episode of Pawn Stars, the hit show on the History Channel, feel real. During their 10-year TV career, there have been memorable moments like high-stakes negotiations, historical discoveries, and interactions that have captivated millions of people around the world. But their legacy goes far beyond their TV successes. They had a big impact on the collectibles market, helped make history more popular, and chose to build a tourism empire in Las Vegas, which paints a picture of entrepreneurs who turned a family pawn shop into a worldwide phenomenon. Harrison's TV career was built on smart business sense, a deep understanding of history, and a strong loyalty to the deal. Some people didn't believe in the idea of the show at first, but he didn't let that define him. Instead, he used his drive to build both the gold and silver pawn shop and his TV career. He finally became one of the most famous businessmen in America. His performances won him praise from critics, solidifying his reputation as a smart but fair figure in the pawn business. Harrison is unique because he can teach people about historical objects in a way that is both in-depth and easy to understand for people of all ages and backgrounds. Their work on TV made them popular, but their businesses behind the scenes showed how business-minded they were. After using the show to build their personal brand, they expanded into restaurants, retail stores, and personal appearances, making millions of dollars. This led to a legal fight that threatened to destroy their carefully built empire. Because Pawn Star was so successful, both legal companies and alleged criminal enterprises went in very different directions. After the show started, gold and silver pawn shops went through the roof, becoming one of the most famous tourist spots in Las Vegas and drawing millions of visitors every year. Because they were careful with sales and had a strong brand, they became a strong symbol of the American spirit of entrepreneurship. Federal detectives ran into problems right away because the web of transactions involving many states and businesses was very complicated. Eventually, a small piece of final evidence came to light. There was a big difference between the business operations that were open to the public and the activities that were said to be going on underground. This caused tensions that would grow over time. "We built this company on understanding and fair deals." Harrison told reporters a lot during the first probe, but scrutiny makes you stronger. "I was determined to fully participate, even though the charges didn't seem to have anything to do with our work." This drive led to a methodical defense that became more and more public. While many people who were the subject of government investigations may have refused to say anything, Harrison and Russell were very open about the whole thing and insisted they were innocent the whole time. People felt sorry for them when they went to press conferences to talk about how the investigation had affected their business. They were seen as victims of overzealous punishment. Support from the public and growing evidence both hit all-time highs in the early 2020s, which made for a stark difference. Millions of people joined campaigns saying they were innocent, while prosecutors quietly gathered financial records that showed growing concerns about the idea of a sophisticated criminal operation running behind the real pawn shop business. But Harrison and Russell had a hard time because the law was getting tougher and threatening to reveal their claimed operational problems. Their legal team reacted with plans that got more complicated. "It has been terrible having to deal with accusations that go against our public image," Harrison said in a rare honest chat. "We stuck to what we know best, honesty and openness, and we thought that would be enough for the public." The defense was very different from the offense, which was becoming more focused. By 2022, there was a big difference between their public image and the accused lawbreaking. While their followers still thought they were innocent, federal prosecutors were putting together a case that involved more than 15 million illegal transactions and complex money laundering schemes through the pawn shop. This case would soon be made public in the most shocking way possible. After years of investigations, this finally led to criminal charges. During the 2022 audit of previously sealed financial records by forensic accountant Thomas Richards, these complex patterns of transactions in their business accounts were found. There are clear attempts to hide the sources of illegal money by moving it through legal business channels. Richards said this at a meeting in Congress that quickly spread among experts on financial crime. The financial records became important in the legal world as investigators looked into the complicated web of transactions involving the pawn shop and several fake companies. A week later, officials released papers that showed the operation had washed around $15.7 million using complex systems meant to hide activities that had been going on for years. These weren't just simple mistakes in the books. These buildings needed to be carefully planned and maintained for many years. The chief lawyer told the court. There were important parts for both Harrison and Russell. As the proof grew, it seemed like the last piece of the puzzle was an alleged financial crime scheme. Within weeks, federal authorities put together a case against Harrison and Russell and charged them with conspiracy to launder money and extortion. If they were found guilty of all charges, they could get life sentences. Not only were these charges about money, but they also posed a major threat to their public image as trustworthy businesspeople who knew what they were doing and dealt with others fairly, traits that had made them famous on TV. The lawsuit sent shock waves through the entertainment business, and some experts say it could be the most important case ever involving a reality TV star. Surprising information about the pawn shop's alleged criminal business was found in court papers. Internal communications from 2018 showed that many associates had actually warned of the chance of being found out. However, they made a smart choice because they wanted to keep their public image. The present structure has an unacceptable chance of being found. Read one secret paper that called for a reorganization right away before any more business was done. As soon as Harrison and Russell walked into the courtroom on the first day of the trial, things started to take shape. Financial investigators were watching them closely, and government lawyers were setting up stacks of financial records in front of them. The famous TV stars who used to entertain millions of people were now facing the legal consequences they had been avoiding for a long time. Your Honor, this case is about a large-scale, well-planned scheme to hide money. The lawyers started a careful investigation by setting up a business that looked like it was legal while handling millions of dollars in illegal money on purpose. The case when newly found financial records were shown in court, things quickly got tense. Harrison was seen. As especially bad evidence was presented, he shook his head decisively and sometimes leaned in to whisper to his lawyer. At the same time, Russell looked more and more upset as the prosecution talked about his alleged part in the tense questioning process. Prosecutors asked Agent Miller, "Did your evidence say that Mr. Harrison personally oversaw these deals?" All the important papers had his name on them. An FBI agent firmly replied, and these signatures made it possible to set up shell companies that were designed to hide where the money came from. The courtroom became very tense when people talked about when the supposed operations happened. He said that the complexity of these financial systems suggested that they were done on purpose, but he didn't ask the prosecutor if they needed planning and regular financial upkeep. The expert gave a strong answer. Harrison was clearly upset as he adjusted his glasses. "Please be polite in my courtroom," the judge told them. Financial experts said that the accused money laundering scheme was very complicated. The main reason these buildings were made was to hide where the money came from. A forensic accountant from Georgetown University named Dr. Eleanor Jenkins testified. The many levels of deals were not necessary for business reasons. The defense focused on the legal parts of their business and how people might not have understood the complicated financial arrangements. They said they had professional help and did not mean to do anything wrong. My client has built a legitimate business empire that employs dozens of people, their lawyer said, adding that these financial structures were suggested to them by experts they trusted. As the trial was coming to a close, fans were very interested. This wasn't just a legal fight, it could mean the end of beloved TV stars whose popularity had been built on being real and knowledgeable. Accountants tracked money through years of deals, which became the most important part of the trial. The numbers were even more shocking than the amount of money that was laundered. An estimated $15.7 million was laundered through complicated networks of shell companies that cost an estimated $2.3 million to run and had complex accounting systems that were meant to hide this operation, which cost an additional $1.8 million to run. The courtroom was packed with Pawn Stars fans on the last day. Some were holding memorabilia, while others wore shirts with the show's logo. The mood was tense as Judge Eleanor Blackwood got ready to hand down the verdict in the case of the United States versus Harrison and Russell. This story might surprise you. Leave a message with the number 1. Leave a comment with the number 0 if not. Let's keep going with this story now. At the start of the court session, the judge carefully looked over the evidence about the defendant's financial transactions, business operations, and acts over the last 7 years. When Harrison and Russell leaned forward with their hands clenched in front of them, you could hear the papers moving. The room was very quiet. The court finds convincing evidence that the defendants engaged in systematic money laundering through sophisticated financial structures, the judge said. They did this by setting up and running shell companies that were designed to hide where the illegal funds came from. Harrison's eyes got really big. Russell looked very pale, and worried looks were shared among his family members. Both defendants were found guilty of all charges by the judge. The judge said with confidence, considering the scale and sophistication of this operation along with the public trust in the defendants' positions, the court must impose the maximum sentence. It was clear what the judge said. Harrison and Russell would each get a life sentence with the chance of parole after 25 years. Any assets they used for criminal acts would also have to be given up. The court gave both of the defendants life sentences with the chance of parole after 25 years. It was also said by the judge that all assets connected to these illegal actions would be taken by the U.S. government. After 10 years of building their TV empire and becoming icons of historical knowledge and business spirit, the truth hit them like a ton of bricks. This was a moment they could never have imagined. Instead, the truth of a life sentence, which was the exact opposite of the public image they had worked so hard to create, felt like the last episode of a TV show. No one saw it coming. While the judge read the full decision, Harrison's face turned pale and Russell's forehead began to sweat. In addition, the accused had to pay back everything they had stolen, and the noise in their ears made it hard to hear the judge. When the courtroom started to spin, their lawyers put their hand on their clients' arms to let them know something was wrong. But it wasn't enough. Beloved TV stars who had entertained millions of people now had to face the judicial consequences they had been avoiding for so long. Your Honor, this case is about a large-scale, well-planned scheme to hide money. The courtroom was shaking. The reality TV stars, who used to be proud of how calm they were, are now passed out in front of the judges and the world. They are having very bad physical responses. A doctor yelled through the crowd in the hall, "Give them space. Someone should call 911. As medical workers rushed in, photographers caught the scene that would make entertainment news around the world. People who played Rick Harrison and Chumlee on Pawn Stars were taken away on stretchers because the emotional weight of losing in court was finally getting to them. Outside the courtroom, family members were seen quickly comforting each other. The executives of History Channel stood there in shock and wouldn't say anything as they were led away by security. The medical drama quickly took priority over the court decision. Fans shared news and words of support on entertainment websites and social media sites using hashtags like Pawn Stars Justice and Free Chum and Rick. 3 days later, she still looked pale but was getting better. Harrison put out a message through his lawyer. "We say we are innocent and will fight this decision with all the tools we have," he wrote with his usual determination. "In the end, the truth will come out." The public story seems to have changed in a basic way because of health concerns. In a surprising turn of events, some former business partners spoke out against the decision. An unnamed person said that many people in Las Vegas thought the sentences were too harsh. Even though official representatives wouldn't say anything about the chance of an appeal or the specific legal plans. The next thing Russell said was very rebellious. He told his lawyer, "This fight is far from over. Even though this is the hardest thing we've ever had to deal with, we still believe in the fair process and the truth." A lot of talk in the showbiz world about what might happen next. A veteran director said that this case has changed the way reality TV is made. "The difference between how they are seen by the public and these accusations makes me wonder about the truth in this genre." People in the media said that both men seemed ready for a long appeals process. There were a lot of conspiracy ideas and other possible explanations on fan forums right away. Legal experts have said that appeals face big problems, but when lawyers were asked directly about their clients passing out in court, they gave a reserved answer. The men's body responses show how shocked they were that they were being punished unfairly. Through the appeals process, we are still determined to show that they are innocent. The court case turned into something unexpected, a possible real-life crime story instead of a reality TV plan. Despite the convictions, there was still a lot of interest in Pawn Stars. Streaming services reported that more people watched episodes again and again to look for hidden hints about the double lives of fans who have been following their careers for years. The case could teach us a lot about the big difference between TV personalities and real people. The fall that shook the entertainment world wasn't just men losing it, it could also be the start of a court case that will see how well their carefully crafted public image can hold up under the toughest conditions. What do you think of the bizarre sentences for the bored stars? If you like this story and want to know more about the Pawn Stars and their tough court case, please like, share, and leave a comment below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any cool movies that come out. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.